our team of journalists, that's Anuj, our reporter who was working on the Sushant Singh Rajput investigation, our video journalist, Yashpal Jeet Singh, who was with Anuj, tracking the story, following leads on an investigative story. They were both in a cab, and the driver too has been arrested. So all three have been arrested for the last 48 hours. It's been 48 hours now. And Republic TV is protesting, also fighting it legally, while questioning the dictatorial tendencies of the Maharashtra government, which has ensured that our reporters are taken into custody, and they try to extend this custody now. They've been placed in custody, that is in police custody, till the 14th of June. And let me go across to Savio Rodriguez, who's the chief editor of Goa Chronicle, joining us on this broadcast this evening. I have Vishal Sharma, who's a political analyst, and Mukesh Tyagi, who's an actor. Anuj was reporting the story. He's been here for quite some time now. In fact, about 10 to 15 days back, he came to Mumbai, and he's been part of our large reporting team in Mumbai tracking the Sushant Singh Rajput story. And I want to get across to Savio. Savio, you know, the last time we spoke about how it could happen to anybody. You know, we're based in Mumbai. They could tomorrow, this Maharashtra government, if it decides, could pick up anybody, right? It could pick up any of our journalists, like they've done in the case of Anuj.
True.
And Anuj's medical examination has been conducted. Alisha, our reporter, her statement has been recorded. It's been almost 48 hours now, and yet they have not been released from police custody yet. We find it really, really shocking, this assault on media freedom. Savio, yeah, go ahead. Yes, Savio.
You know, Niranjan, it's absolutely shocking and despicable that the Maharashtra government has to resort to arresting and intimidating journalists when all the journalists were doing was actually following up on a story. Now, I personally believe that the Maharashtra government, in particular Uddhav Thackeray and Aditya Thackeray, are rattled by the investigations of Republic TV, and that is why Republic TV is being constantly targeted. Now the problem is, what is the reason for that? Are they guilty about something? Are they afraid of some truth coming out? You do not crush media. You do not trample upon the rights of a journalist. It is not done in a democratic setup. We are a democracy. We have rights as citizens. We have rights as a journalist. The Maharashtra government is displaying fascism in the fullest form. They are afraid. They are guilty. And that is the problem. They do not want the truth to come out. There is some truth behind Sushant Singh's death that is linked to the Maharashtra government, and that is why they are going through all these measures to ensure that the truth does not come out. And Republic will bring out the truth. Today it is Republic. Tomorrow it might be another reporter. Is this what we are going to tolerate in India? That journalists will be targeted by the whims and fancies of a government? That cannot be acceptable. It is a shame that the other media companies are not coming out in arms. This cannot be tolerated in a democracy. The Maharashtra government has no right to arrest any reporter. The truth will come out, and this is what they are doing. Unfortunately for them, the people of India stands with Republic and journalists who are working to bring out the truth. Maharashtra government will lose. Uddhav Thackeray, you will lose, and the truth will come out. Keep that in mind.
I want to go across to Mukesh Tyagi as well. Mukesh Tyagi, Anuj is a reporter who was working on the Sushant story, and some of his investigative reports include a revelation that came out about a week ago, a little over a week ago, I think, where an ambulance, somebody who was with the ambulance moving the body of Sushant Singh Rajput, and he was also he spoke to that person at Kupa Hospital, and he spoke about how there were injuries on Sushant's body, something that the police never revealed, right? He also revealed about how the doctors during the autopsy, because he was present there, claimed that it could be a case of murder. And he was merely following leads, and he was arrested by the, not the Mumbai police, by the Maharashtra police in Karjat, close to the Chief Minister's farmhouse. He was merely following a story and investigative leads when he was arrested. I want your response on that, Mukesh, because it's been nearly 48 hours now, in fact more than that, and he still has not been freed yet.
You know, कहते हैं विपरीत बुद्धि विनाश काले. I think Maharashtra government is trying to establish everything possible in a very unconstitutional way. Look at the way most of the things have been done in the past, because Sushant Singh investigation has become a prestigious matter and also equally sensitive matter, because government is behaving, as somebody mentioned, it's in a fascism fashion. And arresting a journalist, I think, is the most severe offense anybody can do it, because it's a straightaway attack on the freedom of speech. And if this is the way journalists are going to be treated, I think it's a matter of a constitutional crisis, because Constitution protects under Article 22 that everybody has a freedom of expression. And I'm not aware of the fact whether these journalists were getting into the bungalow or not, there was a scuffle or not. That's an allegation. I'm not sure about it. Secondly, they should have been produced before the magistrate within 24 hours. Which has, I think, I'm not sure whether they have been produced before that or not. But coming on the fundamental premises, there have been number of loopholes, the way autopsy has been done, no time is being mentioned, Cooper Hospital. There are a number of questions which are hovering around right now, which have remained unanswered. And we are waiting for the time to come. And you are taking this investigation to a logical end. Entire Bollywood is, as a matter of fact, looking at your investigation. And let me tell you, this parallel investigation will bring the entire thing into fruition. Otherwise, this matter would have been lost in oblivion. So I'm only trying to say that I mean, you have a legal recourse to file a habeas corpus writ petition in the High Court and get the strictures in case it is unconstitutional. And I'm sure it is a unlawful arrest, it is unlawful, and he should be released instantaneously with apology from the government that they have transcended their jurisdiction. It is a matter of governance. It is not a matter of who is ruling the government. The government has to work within the four walls of the Constitution. And I see on the face of it that there is a complete violation of the Constitution. There is a complete violation of freedom of speech. This is the pillar of the democracy. Emergency is notoriously known, because they suspended all the fundamental rights of the citizens. And that's why emergency can never be forgotten. Are we replicating emergency in Maharashtra because there is a cover-up going on the Sushant Singh's investigation? Is that the level of constitutionality which this government is undertaking? I think it's a very, very embarrassing. As a citizen, I'm feeling extremely embarrassed. As a Bollywood actor, I'm feeling very embarrassed that it has become complete anarchy, that anybody can be arrested and without any rhyme or reason. And your investigators, your journalists, I think follow a very high degree of protocol. Of course, they are aggressive, and they need to be aggressive. Otherwise, they'll never be able to pull out the fact.
Mukesh, there was no aggression in this case.
No, I'm saying there is nothing wrong with aggression.
But there was no aggression. There was no aggression, and I just read out the IPC sections. And Vishal, you know what mistake Anuj made? He went to Karjat. He was following a story, and he happened to ask a security guard if this was the Chief Minister's farmhouse. And because he asked that question, he was picked up by the police.
You know, I think a writ petition should be filed in the Honorable Supreme Court so that this matter is brought to the cognizance of the highest court in the land. There is something very strange going on with the Maharashtra government. It brings back memories of the emergency and the crackdown on media and freedom of speech and media censorship. This does not appear to be Raj Dharma. It appears to be some sort of party dharma that is being practiced. In fact, I would also appeal that the office of the Honorable Governor of Maharashtra cannot be a mute spectator to this grave violation of human rights and journalistic freedom. In fact, the National Human Rights Commission should issue a notice to the Maharashtra Chief Secretary and to the DGP of Maharashtra seeking information and a report that should be presented to them within a stipulated time period as to why. What were the circumstances that the journalists were picked up? What were the circumstances that their driver was picked up? Why were they kept in custody for 4 days? Was a remand copy provided to them or not? Were they denied basic legal assistance? If the Maharashtra government has denied them basic legal assistance, then I think the Chief Secretary of the state of Maharashtra is answerable. And the highest court in this country, the Supreme Court, must be made cognizant of this fact. What is happening in Maharashtra? Do we have a rule of law here, or do we have a rule of some sort of a jungle? Okay, the people in power, those who are in government, they can levy any sort of false assault charges on anybody, register FIR at their whims and fancies, and arrest people and journalists. I would also want to make a point. Wasn't Anuj the same journalist who brought out the explosive interview of the mortuary staff member regarding the Sushant Singh Rajput case? And is this arrest by the Maharashtra police has got anything to do with the Sushant Singh Rajput case? In fact, has the Raigad police inquired into the Sushant Singh Rajput case or to the sources of the journalists? These are very pertinent questions that need to be raised. We want to know what is going on. What is the leadership of the Maharashtra police doing? What is the leadership of the Maharashtra government doing? And if the answers are not coming forthright, then it is only a matter of time that the office of the governor of Maharashtra will have to intervene. The governor cannot be a silent spectator. The governor has to seek report and send the report to the Ministry of Home Affairs if at all there are any violations of human rights. A grave situation is happening in Maharashtra. It's not just the arrest of one journalist. We also saw the lynching of the sadhus in Palgad. We want to know what happened to the culprits. Was the charge sheet filed within a stipulated time period or not? And if not, why did the Maharashtra government not do it? What is happening in the Kangana issue, where Kangana's office was demolished? On whose orders? Who is running the government in Maharashtra? Who is giving these orders? And who is ordering these demolitions, arrest, gags? What on earth is happening in this state? These questions are very natural questions that arise not only in my mind, these questions are arising in the minds of everybody who's watching these events unfold. Why is the Maharashtra government doing these things? These actions do not bring it any glory. The arrest of a journalist is not a glorious incident for democracy. The arrest of a journalist is not a glorious incident for journalistic freedom. It points towards a dictatorial mindset. It points towards a mindset that is afraid of something. What is that something? What is that something that the Maharashtra government is allegedly afraid of? Why was it so important for them to put Anuj, not only Anuj behind bars, but also his cameraman and also his driver behind bars on charges of assault? This is very surprising, Niranjan, and these raise very pertinent questions. And I hope somebody answers these questions. If the answers are not coming, the Honorable Supreme Court should be made cognizance of it.
Yeah, we have, it's so dangerous, and the reason why I'm saying this is because it could happen to any of us. And I was telling this to Savio, it could happen to Savio because Savio is very outspoken against the Maharashtra government on some issues, right? It could happen to Savio. They can pick up Savio if he comes to Mumbai or Maharashtra. It could happen to you, Vishal, because you're based out of Mumbai. And Mukesh Tyagi, it could happen to you if you come to Mumbai and if you ever happen to question the government. I'm just saying, it could happen to any of us. And we're broadcasting, I'm sitting in Mumbai, right? It could happen to any of us. And that's why people need to speak up and question the arrest. Our reporter, our crew has been arrested. Anuj, Yashpaljeet and Pradeep arrested. They didn't even spare the driver. Driver of the cab also arrested on the story. They were following an investigative story. I mean, it could happen to anyone. It's important that you speak up. There is a petition live on republicworld.com. Go to republicworld.com, sign the petition to free Anuj now. That's also our hashtag, free Anuj now. Can you imagine if anybody from the Lutyens media was picked up, let alone be arrested, or was even detained, right? Can you imagine what would have happened now? Anuj was doing his job when he was arrested. 48 hours ago, he was picked up. 44, I think. 44 hours and 36 minutes now. And he still hasn't been freed. Our legal teams are at it, fighting for him to be freed from police custody. And we will continue to fight for him. Thank you. Thank you, Savio, for speaking out. Thank you, Mukesh, for speaking out, for Anuj and Vishaljeet, and Yashpaljeet, and also Pradeep. Thank you, Vishal, for speaking up for our Republic crew.